as I sip on my coco samo. It's all on you. Take it to God. God is the center. Center? Even that's debatable. When does one make the decision to step away from one's church duties, commitments, in order to keep one's sanity so that they can better serve the family, so that they can better serve the church? The answer would be, which to me seems like a dangerous combination, because of the decision of indecision. This is what we are taught as Christians, as believers of God. I feel there's a difference between taking annual leave and stepping away from one's duties. Of her not being here was tough. But as the years go by, but if you don't want it, then that's on you. My inability or weakness is easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You know when people cut you off but I'm like, you know what I mean? Did I do that? I don't want to exercise all the time. I don't want to get healthy all the time. I don't want to increase my cardiovascular respiration. Yeah, then I have to think about it. I might have to eat properly. Sometimes I don't want to do this stuff. The longer I don't use it, the quicker I will lose it.
Real talks, zero edits, just raw conversations on the go. Hot takes, zero breaks. New episodes every week. Subscribe wherever you listen.
Good morning. Just pulled out the driveway. What's the best way to have this? You've had a good weekend. Today is Monday. If you've been following along, thank you. But you can humbly ask one favor. You can like, subscribe, comment, share, especially if you find that any of this will resonate with you or someone that you know, and just to let them know that whatever they're going through, they're not alone. They're not the only one. Today, what's heavy on my mind as I sip on my coco samo whilst I'm driving, had a good conversation with a dear friend, and it was still on my mind because you know when tough decisions need to be made, and it's all on you. And yes, you take it to God in prayer and in fasting. You do your best to make sure that God is the center. Center? Maybe even that's debatable. That God is the start of your decision. And but in the end, the decision needs to be a you decision, as in it's between you and God, and not you and man. Because ultimately, it's you will live by your decision and you will die by your decision. So without without uh, without naming names, conversation was had and questions were asked. Advice was asked for, advice was given on the subject matter, and I hope I get it right, because the idea of the conversation was one thing, but ensuring that the right idea for the conversation was had. It was along the lines of how does how how does one it's how or how does one when does one make the decision to step away, not even step away, to step to the side from their church commitments and duties, when does one step away? In order, okay, this is the tricky part, was in order to keep one's sanity, or in order to, ensure that the priority was looked after, i.e., their family. And then the extension of that talk was because because the feeling was if the family was looked after so much so that they were in a better place to serve God, then wouldn't that be a good or better decision? What do you think? What do you think? I hope you got that question or statement. What do you think? When does one make the decision to step away from one's church duties or commitments in order to keep one's sanity so that they can better serve the family, so that they can better serve the family, so that they can better serve the church. I know it's a loaded question and it could be taken in so many different directions, and the to ensure that it's not taken out of context, because the commitment is there. The love is there. The sacrifice is there. But because I can't speak on behalf, but I want to take it into my own, bring it back to me. When do I make the decision to step away from my church duties and church commitments in order to keep my sanity, in order to serve my family so it can better serve the church? And I think if I speak from my flesh and from my worldly mind, the answer would be I need to do it ASAP, because if I go mental, if I go insane, then the chances and the possibility of me being in the church still is minimal. And then I look at the situation I would be. Not only would I have reduced my workload in the church, the workload that I was blessed with from God. So I would have reduced my workload, which means to me I would have reduced my commitment to God in order to search for my insanity. And now I am insane and I have less to do with God. So I have no God, less God, and now I have less sanity, which to me seems like a dangerous combination. And reminds me of the story that's shared about the duck, as to why the duck walks the way it's duck. It's a what do you say, a fairy tale, or a story used as an example to bring forth an example. But you have the duck who was invited to the wedding, and at the same time he was invited to a birthday party. And so on his way to the wedding, he could hear the music from the birthday party, and so he took a step to his right. And then on the way to the birthday party, he could hear the music from the wedding. So he took a step to the left. Here's the party, right. Wedding, left. Party, right. Wedding, left. And so his indecision, because he's hearing music from both sides, right, left, and the party finishes, or the wedding finishes, the birthday finishes, and he's still in this indecision mode as to what should he do. So he misses out on the wedding and misses out. Eventually he misses out on the wedding and he misses out on the birthday party. And so he missed out completely on the thing or things that he wanted to do, because of the decision of indecision. And I'm reminded of that story because if the decision is to step away from God's blessings via church duties for you, and you've gone into putting your family first for the sake of the church, and so that you can get your insanity, and now you have less God and less sanity. I feel it's a dangerous recipe for disaster. It's a slippery slope. The beginning of the end, if you don't know how to get yourself back, or if you fail to get yourself back, because the hope and the idea is you find the right help, not just any help. You find the right help, and that's the bodily, that's the flesh side, and it's to what avenue I would take, and I would make all the decisions. I would seek what's best for me. The spiritual side in me says put God first. Simple. Easy answer. No two ways about it. God first. And this is what we are taught as Christians, as believers of God, in the Word, our walk in Christ, our faith in Christ. God first in everything we do. It's pretty simple explanation that whatever we seek to do should be God-led and God first. And any decision that influences an answer that is different to this answer, God first, then maybe we should rethink our answer. maybe we should look closely and examine the answer that might be ahead for us if we're choosing the answer that is opposite to God first. The scriptures that comes to mind to support the indecision of the flesh is all things are possible through God who strengthens me. Because I think if I wasn't sure on what to do, what path to take, then I must not be confident, or there must be some doubt in my mind as to the path I'm already on in terms of the God-led path that I'm on. Must be some indecision there, so due to whatever reason, what's happening in your life, your family life, your personal life, your church life, your mental state, your physical state, your spiritual state. Like all of these things come into account, come into play when you're trying to make a decision. And so all things are possible. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to His will. Another one. But for all the things to work together, there's some criteria there. One, it'll all work together if you love the Lord, and two, if you are called according to His will. So that scripture says, all things work together for those who love the Lord. So one, we've got to be loving the Lord, and two, and are called according to His will. There was a discussion about, there was a time when Jesus had to step away from His ministry. I wasn't familiar with this, so maybe you can help me in this part. But there's a time when during Jesus' ministry, it was at the height of His ministry where He had to step away from the ministry or go away to be by Himself, or step away or go to be by Himself in order to increase, in order to do some soul searching, maybe. And so my advice on this part was, there's a time there will always be a time, and that's a you decision that you have to make for you and yourself and your family. But there's a time for the need to step away, but step away in terms of take time out. Hey, go on holiday. Pastors do that all the time. I know of pastors who do that all the time, who are not stepping away but taking leave, annual leave. Take the time and they use this time to go and refresh and rejuvenate. To do their whatever they need to do at their break, and to get rest, so that they can come back refreshed and ready to go. It happens all the time. Hence why people go on holidays when they're at work. So they need a break. And that part I do support. That one needs to take a break and take time out. But I feel there's a difference between taking annual leave and stepping away from one's duties. But in the process of a person taking annual leave, I want to give you an example. My family and I went away for the weekend just last week. And this was Mother's Day weekend. And so in this situation, I knew that I would be in some sort of state of mind, because it's Mother's Day. You know? And since the passing of my mom, it hasn't been the same for me. And every year since her passing, it's been different. Man, the first one was tough. The first Mother's Day was tough, and just like it was, for her first birthday of her not being here was tough. But as the years go by, it does get a bit easier. It still hurts. It still hurts, but it does get a bit easier. So, in my own situation, when I look back at it, my wife used to allow me um, used to allow me don't take it the wrong way, but she used to allow me to take trips, regular trips back home just to see mum, because she knew I needed to see my mum. And in that time of going to see my mum, that was my break. That was my form of trying to keep my sanity. Looking back now, at the time I just saw it as a holiday. But looking back now, man, what those were important times to me, because who knows how insane I would have been had I not taken those regular trips away. And so, in that situation, my wife would send me where was it going? Oh, just this past weekend. So this past weekend now, Mother's Day, we when we got confirmation of the Airbnb, um, and this is what I said to to my friend. Even though I was going on away for the weekend, I still had to plan um, my church roles, my church departments, in order to make sure it was still runs smoothly. And so I said to him, I had to work twice as hard to make sure things were in place. Twice as hard as in I had to do more communication to people, ensuring people were in the right place, were ready to perform their duties to the best of their ability. I had to check the double checks. And then I let my leaders know that I've set all this up. These people are here, and if this doesn't happen, someone else is here, and have the backup for the backup. And so I had to work harder so I could relax more. But I could only do that because I planned and I executed to the best of my ability. And then I had to let the members of the departments do their thing. And for me not to stress over it, because I can help you as much as I can, but I can only hold your hand for so long. I can show you the direction, I can give you the plan, But if you are not willing to follow through with it, then that's on you. I can teach you, I can show you what I know, show you the way that I know. But if you don't want it, then that's on you. And my inability, my inability or weakness is I want to help too much. I want to fix it myself too much. But yes, I can try, but I know it's not sustainable. Because I can only do so much, and I am only so much. And like a car engine or any sort of vehicle, it needs a service. It needs a tuning. It needs something. Eventually, it'll need something. Something will need replacing. Will need renewing. Will need refilling. It's gonna happen. And it's on me to make sure that when it's time for a refuel, a service, a reset, that I go and do these things. Otherwise, my car's gonna break down. Otherwise, I'm gonna break down, and then I'll be out of service. My car will be out of service, and I will be out of service for not only for my family, but then I'll be out of service for my church. So I hopefully that made sense, but I say all of that because even though we planned to go away, I had to work twice as hard. But I was willing to work twice as hard so I could get my break that I needed for my sanity. Without walking away from my duties, without stepping away from my duties, I could still find the way to do all of that because I was willing. And it's so much easier when you are willing. It's so much easier. Look at your own personal situation. What do you enjoy doing? What do you love? What do you do the most? And I bet you do all that stuff because you're willing to do it. You're willing to sit in traffic, to go to a place, to find the peace and enjoyment that you're looking for. I know you would. I used to travel 45 minutes to an hour just so I could get to an indoor netball game or a game of touch rugby. The the distance and the traffic didn't matter to me, because I knew what I was getting, and I was willing to do all that to get what I wanted. What sort of situation are you in? Maybe you're in the same situation. Maybe it's got nothing to do with church. Maybe it's a duty in your workplace, or a duty or a role in your workplace, or your role in your club at home. Are you going through the same thing? Are you stuck between a rock and a hard place? Are you questioning some decisions you made earlier because of things that are going on right now? And I get it, because pressure does pressure does some strange things, does some great things. Pressure, and it'll make you do some strange things and some great things. Pressure. But how do we how we react under pressure, how we perform under pressure, how we how we respond under pressure, how we portray ourselves under pressure, how we decide under pressure, how we think under pressure. All these things come into play. You know? And you will, everyone's reaction, everyone's output is different. We could have the same pressure, but the output, the external output that we put out, because that's what external output means, because you put it out, everyone would be different, I feel. And how you react to this pressure speaks volumes. And I say this, and I want to bring this into conversation, even though it might be leading us away from the actual topic. But exercise. Depending on the exercise, I might see that particular exercise as no problem, and you might see it as the hardest thing you've ever seen. And then you bring another exercise that you're familiar with, and you look at it as easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and I look at it and go, man, what have I got myself into? And in both situations, the way you would react would be influenced by what you've already gone through. and how you would think. I.e., if I have um, if I have a record of if I have a record of successfully if I have a record of successfully um, coming out of a pressure situation with a positive mindset or a positive outcome, then I can draw back and I can draw on these um, results and these mindsets and these situations for future events. And whether the pressure is high, medium, or low, whether the uh, and whatever that pressure moment is, because I have this positive mindset that uh, I've I've been here before, I can do it, and or even though I haven't seen this situation before, I've tried new stuff before, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to make sure I express or make sure I do my best in order for me to get the positive result that I'm after. And the same it is for if you have a record of negative outcomes due to negative mindset, due to negative history. You approach the pressure situation differently. If you're starting with negative, you're already on a downhill, slippery slope, especially if you have negative history backed with negative feedback, backed with negative. It's just not a good. It's just not a good setup. If everything you've got is of the negative quality, and you're trying to get the best outcome of this pressure situation. Yeah. What say you? What say you in this, in any of these situations or outcomes or mindsets or what advice do you have for someone um, in this position or in this moment of his indecision, or what what feedback do you have for this person? You know, I could I left home a little bit later this morning, and now it's taken me um, nearly an hour just to get from home to where I am now. and probably still got another. If traffic's like this all the way to work, then I've probably got another half an hour maybe of driving, and I've seen people lose their wick. Is that the same? I've seen people lose their stack, lose their in traffic situations. And as minor as it may seem, people still lose their wits and lose their sanity. But I still get a bit antsy, and I still get a certain way, because when people cut you off, and so I could be negative about this all the way to work, all the way. I could be negative about, have I been cut off this morning? No, the people that have squeezed into the gap in front of me have all indicated. The people that have, I don't know, this, I'm in the fast lane, but we're getting passed by people in the left lane. And for anyone overseas, they're driving on the left or the right. We drive on the left-hand side of the road, and the right-hand most lane is the fast lane, but it's moving slower than the other two lanes. And so I could easily indicate to my left and try to find the fastest, but I'm like, there's no stress on me to keep this lane and just follow it all the way to work. No stress on me. There's no stress on me to still be sitting in traffic nearly an hour later. There's no stress on me to allow all these cars to cut in front of me. And I do want to mention they've all indicated, because sometimes there's, you know what I mean? Sometimes there's people who there's no gap and there's no indication. Anyway, different. That's for a different podcast. But I feel I can do all these things because I've been in so many pressure situations that it's enabled me to keep calm about most situations, to keep calm in the situation, and to react differently whilst thinking and acting in the situation. My history with work, my history with exercise, my history with even this particular situation, my history with what else? All my pressure situations that I've had in my past helps me to regulate, helps me to deal. Is it deal? Helps me to I just got to put this on charge. helps me to find the best way to react and deal with this current situation. I must add though, all these because there's different kind of pressures. There's the controlled environment pressure and the uncontrolled environment pressure. Let me give you some examples. The controlled environment pressure. I can control the pressure in exercise because I can regress or progress in the situation. I can go as hard as I can, and then I can ease back on it when I need to. I control how much pressure I put on myself in the exercise moment. I control whether I go to get me pressure or not. I control it. What I can't control in that controlled environment is the exercise plan that's been given to me. Because if you're going to a class, you do what the trainer's asking you to do. And whatever that set is, you do the set, but I control as much as possible, because some trainers, they like to, I control how much pressure I put on myself. Go as hard as I can, for as long as I can, but when I need to step back, I step back or regress. But for me, when I go to train in this pressure environment, I push myself to the max, my max, and whatever that looks like, I push for as long as possible, for the maximum allowable time possible, and then as soon as the session's over, that's when I relax. And given sometimes in the session I might get pain, muscle pain, or physical pain, which then translate to mental pain, which then translate to, and then I have to deal with these situations. And I get to those moments, I either kick myself in the butt and tell myself, see what happens, and or I rest, because I do have to take ego into consideration and make sure I don't injure myself. It's a controlled environment situation, and versus an uncontrolled means I have no control over the environment. Uncontrolled environment situation, I can't control the weather. People that get all negative and antsy about the weather, I can't control the other people driving on the road. I can't control the people that cut in front of me. I can control my reaction. I can't control the external environment, but I can control me and the way I react. I can't control what's happening to others, but I can control what I say to them. I can control the words that I use. I can control what I can control, but I can't control what I can't control. Did I take this in another direction? Did I? Did I do that? Anyway, that's what I feel anyway. So my advice would be, even though I've given the person advice, what are you willing to do to keep your sanity? What about you? What are you willing to do to keep your sanity? Are you willing to risk your relationship with God? Are you willing to risk your relationship with your family? Are you willing to put it all on the line? What are you willing to do to keep your sanity? If it's not about sanity, what are you willing to do to keep your relationship with God? If it's not about God, what are you willing to do to keep your family intact? If it's not about family, what are you willing to do to keep your job? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do to be able to control the controllables, to control your environment, your internal environment? Let's put it that way. Internal, me, external, them. What are you willing to do to control your internal environment? And what are you willing to do to deal with the uncontrollable external environment? What are you willing to do? And I think you can get the answer out of that, because you either will or you won't. You do or you don't. You either will find a way to make it work or you won't. Pick a situation. You'll either do that, what's required, or you don't want to do it. Will or you won't. Do or you don't. And then when it becomes that, when the situation gets you into that decision-making area, then it becomes an internal. What's your gut say? What's your mind say? What does your body say? And we're taught and we're reminded that if you base your decisions on feelings, you might get yourself in trouble. But better than to what's better than basing your decisions on feelings is to base your feeling on facts. Facts. So it's facts over feeling. What do you want to do or don't want to? What do you want to do or what don't you want to do? Facts over feeling. What are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do? Facts over feeling. I get it. Sometimes you're not in the mood to do that stuff. Sometimes you don't even want to think about it. Sometimes but sometimes it's the best thing for you to do, you know. I don't want to exercise all the time. I don't want to get healthy all the time. I don't want to increase my cardiovascular respiration. I don't want to increase the range of motion in my knees. I don't want to increase the range of motion in my hips. I don't want to do that sometimes. I don't want to, because then I'll have to get out of bed earlier. Then I'll have to think about it. Then I might have to eat properly. I might have to talk to someone about it. I might have to, sometimes I don't want to do this stuff. Feeling, because I feel cold. I feel not into it. I feel tired. Feeling. Fact is, I need to do it. Because the longer I don't use it, the quicker I will lose it. The longer I don't use it, the quicker I will lose it. Find an elderly person who's trying to get back into exercise. Ask them, why are you doing that? And one of the main reasons I'm hearing is the lack of exercise, or the lack of mobility, or some form of exercise increases the onset of dementia. The more you go one way, the less you go one way, the more you go the other. There's a reaction to all the actions you choose. Positive or negative, there's a reaction to all the action you choose. And my prayer, because it's been an hour, my prayer to you, for you, is whatever you choose with God. And everyone can have their opinion, but it's the decision that you have to make with God, and then that's the decision that you have to live with. Right or wrong, it's you and God. Pray for peace over you. Pray for peace over your mind and thoughts. Or sometimes don't pray for, because we all want peace, but sometimes you need not peace, because you need pressure sometimes. Because the more you can handle pressure, the more you can deal with it, then the more you can take on. And God wouldn't put it's said that God gives you the situation, whatever situation God puts you through, is because God knows you can handle it. So pray for sound mind. Yeah, let's change peace. Pray for sound mind over you. Pray for clean heart. Pray for your strength and your decision of you and your family, and whatever your want and need in this current situation. May God bless you. May God watch over your ingoing and your outgoing, now and forevermore. Amen. Oh, okay, by far.